I really don't know what the cause is. Why it keeps freezing. That's never happened to me before. It's just odd. Okay. Let's continue reading. Another sun. Special containment procedures. The abandoned warehouse building containing SCP-2108 has been acquired by the Foundation and designated the containment site 2108 core. Oh yeah, by the way, Photosynthetic is the one who wrote this. It's called Another Sun. Yeah, I did the whole thing, but like, yeah, my stream froze again. I don't know why. No Foundation personnel to enter Site 2108 core unless strictly necessary for testing. The general operation of Site 2108 are to take place in the site's other building. Site 2108 core is to remain under security appropriate for the sensitive Foundation site wherever possible. Objects and conditions noted to the effect SCP-2108 properties are to be managed within known minimally disruptive ranges. SCP-2108 itself is to be kept under constant surveillance in a sealed, opaque room. Attempts to move SCP-2108... Now I gotta check if also my sound setting is not like... Because if it's screwed over again... Nope, it's all good. I'm just confused, man. SCP-2108 or otherwise alter its property... attempts to move SCP-2108 or otherwise alter its properties should be avoided. The containment chamber is to be cleaned daily by remote control or automated drones to remove all living organisms massing more than 0.5 grams. Living organisms are not to be exposed to SCP-2108 or SCP-2108A, which should be converted to grayscale or false color before viewing. When direct observation is necessary, personnel should wear full-body opaque clothing with goggles tinted to block -A characteristic spectral peaks. -A skin's exposure of 80 J kilograms in any 10-week period is disqualifying for further SCP-2108 interaction. Instances of -B are to be contained in species-appropriate enclosure at least 10 kilometers from Site 2108, except when authorized for testing. Deliberately creating instance of -B requires prior authorization from SCP-2108 project lead. In all cases, must use the fewest and least massive subjects possible. Description: Description: SCP-2108 is a luminous object resembling a miniature star with a chromosphere 1 to 4 meters in diameter, ranging in color from yellow-orange to green. It is selectively intangible and possibly non-material, while it appears similar in structure and composition to a main sequence star of roughly 1 solar mass. Its surface bears visible granules and sunspots. It appears to undergo periodic flares, and it has a gaseous corona 0.5 to 6 meters deep. It emits 1.6 to 1.8 to 15.3 kilowatt of light, a biologically insignificant levels of exotic radiation, and very little radiant heat. It cannot be moved or affected by deliberate physical manipulation, except by some instances of -B, see below. B specific properties such as size, location, mass, absolute luminosity, spectrum, etc. vary in poorly understood ways. All of its properties are correlated non-linearly with one another, as well as with at least 12 other factors. These additional correlates have not been fully enumerated, but are believed to include the current, solar wind flux, strong local magnetic fields, the movement of all coerced individuals within 30 meters of the object, the extent of the next predicted solar and lunar eclipses, the time elapsed since a runaway nuclear fission reaction took place in the northern hemisphere, and the number and combined mass of extant -B instances. Light radiation emitted from SCP-2108 is designated -A. Its spectrum varies somewhat, as do all of SCP-2108's properties, but always retain characteristic peaks at 663, 615, 448, and 297 and M. An example in the red. Okay, so this is taking a yeah, your side. My stream froze again, by the way. In the red, orange, indigo, and near ultraviolet. In addition, the object exotic radiation output is the only predictable property. It is always a known function of -A's electromagnetic spectrum. St. Jack's T radiation of unknown provenance. A partial characterization of -A observer. An SCP Foundation Journal, 2014, 220. Intense or prolonged exposure to unmodified. It's not even Twitch. It's my Streamlabs. It's my OBS. It keeps like freezing whenever I switch between different scenes. I don't know why it does that. It never did it before. Intense or prolonged exposure to unmodified -A causes a poorly characterized transformative syndrome in living. I need to check if all my stuff is up to date after the stream. In living organisms which are then designated -B, the speed and discomfort of -B conversion are directly proportional to the speed and intensity with which the transformative -A dose was delivered. Specifically, the speed of transformation is proportional to the total of -A. Can you look up for me how long the last one is? And the inverse cube of the time over which it was applied. Because depending on how long it is, I might have to skip it because I have to wake up in like 7 hours. And I don't want to be fucking dead when people have to come by to get stuff fixed. It would just look stupid. The changes present in -B are believed to result, at least in part, from protein folding interference by novel substance produced upon skin absorption of -A. The precise effects vary between taxa, but generally include an increase in external pigmentation, production of novel pigments with absorption spectra related to -A, and in autotrophic organisms, a novel set of photosynthetic organelles and pathways better optimized for use of -A. Structural and organ level effects are usually subtle, with more pronounced changes affecting the organism's metabolism and biochemistry. A structural and organ extended that exposure may produce more dramatic structural effects. Testing proposals are currently mid-size. Okay, I think I can do that. Extended. See addendum 1 for partial list of -B alterations. Addendum 1. Selected excerpts from test log -B. Test 1. Subject 3. Mature American goldenrod Euthymia graminifolia plants in fruit. -A exposure discovered with SCP-2018 inside 218 core. Total dosage unknown. Conversion period unknown. Results: initial discovery of -B. Plant leaves distinctly long and thin than typical for E. graminifolia. Leaf and stem surface pigmentation purplish blue with slight cyan iridescence, apparently a protective sunscreen layer. Underlying tissues deep blue-green due to development of -B typical photosynthetic systems. What the fuck just happened to my OBS? Fruits rich in several uncharacterized alkaloids after removal from -A. Plants recovered entirely within 8 weeks. What the fuck? It just went blank. Like, I can still see the chat and you guys and myself, but like everything else vanished. Okay, let's just get this reading done. This weekend's reading has been cursed. Test 3. Subject colony of carpenter ants, Camponotus pennsylvanicus, greater than 200 individuals. Exposure discovered with SCP-2108 inside 218 core. Total dosage unknown. Conversion period unknown. Results: dosage presumably proportional to time spent outside the nest. As effects were most pronounced in the worker's task for foraging. Thorax, legs, and mandibles coated in several thin layers of translucent deep orange wax and Black chitinous appendages developed on the dorsal antennae, signaling pheromones almost completely replaced with novel set of chemicals, resultant confusion between foraging workers and larval care workers, likely caused the colony rapid decline. Queen completely unaffected but killed by alkaloid poisoning after being fed seeds of affected goldenrod colony, then collapsed completely. Okay, test 9. 2 albino Norway rats, Rattus novicus, female, 18 months old, 330 to 375 grams, exposure 160 joule kilograms, full body skin, fur, and eye, 20 minutes, conversion period 66 hours. Results: exposed skin developed light gray pigmentation, fur developed dark blue gray pigmentation with dark blue mottled markings with whose exact patterns differed by individual. Behavior during conversion period did not suggest any particular discomfort. Animals recovered within 3 weeks. Test 10, subject to albino Norway, same things, except that the 335 to 360 kilograms, everything else the same except 10 minutes of exposure. Conversion period 75 minutes. Results comparable to test 9 but with additional slight elongation of tail vertebrae and hind legs. Subjects chewed and clawed at legs and tail until restrained, with vocalization suggesting discomfort and or pain, joint swelling, colorful urine, and other symptoms of an endogenous pigment poisoning abated within 24 hours. Animals recovered within 3 weeks. Test 11, once again, albino rats, 220 to 270 grams, full body, 240 minutes. Light use was an exact match to the HA's current spectrum, generated by field flood lamps. Conversion period NA, results no effect. Test 12, same individual as test 11. Everything's the same, except that it says light use was live, full color surveillance video of SCP 2108. Conversion period 80 hours. Results effectively identical to test 9. Test 15, human male, 27 years, 79 kilograms, D14. Exposure 160 joules kilogram, 20 centimeters squared skin, torso 240 minutes, conversion period 12.5 hours. Results: all skin developed purplish brown pigmentation with short blue-green ventral stripes. Subject reported altered color vision as well as difficulty speaking and eating due to excessive salivation. Blood rich in a novel substance with significant stimulation effect in mouse models but none in the subject himself. Recovered within 3 weeks. Test 16, human male. Everything's the same. It's the same person. Yeah, everything's the same except note: D14 was re-exposed after recovering fully from test 15. Conversion period 3 hours, way shorter. Results comparable to test 15 but with additional complication of the shorter conversion period: joint swelling, muscle spasms, mild hemophilia, greater loss of vision, and colorful body fluids. Symptoms abated within 36 hours. Subject recovered within 7 weeks. Repeated re-exposure tests pending approval. Don't re-expose that poor person. That poor guy. Test. Subject human, female, 38 years, 64 kilograms. Exposure accidental, 125 joules kilograms, 5 centimeter squared skin and eye, 5 seconds post hoc estimation. Conversion period 5 minutes post hoc estimation. Results: skin developed purplish brown pigmentation with blue green ventral mottling. Color vision altered, apparently tetrachromatic skin hairs replaced by chaffy vulval structures with rudimentary photosynthetic capacity. Onset of -B characteristics was swift enough to cause immediate severe and endogenous poisoning. Symptoms including muscle spasms, systemic neuralgia, temporary blindness, and acute renal failure. Poisoning symptoms abated in 3 weeks with inpatient care. Severe sunburn on exposed side of face healed normally. Subject will recover fully within 8 weeks. Addendum 2 report, incident report E 311A1A. On the 12th February 2014, Agent Erin Moynihan, researcher Tom St. Jacques, and researcher Chelsea Elliott, representative from MTF Theta 4 Gardeners, arrived at the future site 2108 to assist in early field study of the anomalies that would collectively be designated SCP-2108. At the time, -A and -B were collectively designated E311A1. SCP-2108 itself had not yet been discovered. The MTF Theta 4 personnel were directed to the -B entities, which consisted of scattered vegetation growing in the cracks of the concrete warehouse floor. Began initial examination after establishing basic field precautions. However, when Dr. Elliot attempted to examine a leaf sample through a small magnifying lens, she received a burst of concentrated -A. The exposure converted her into an instance of -B within 5 minutes, the resulting endogenous poisoning required hospitalization. No, because of the lens, right? Yeah. Simultaneously, the sudden emergence of a large -B instance caused significant changes in SCP-2108's properties, most notably causing it to triple in diameter and luminosity while instantly relocating 4 meters straight down. This places below the level of the warehouse skylight, simultaneously making it visible for the first time and irradiating all personnel present. Before incident E311A1-A shone through the skylight of Site-2108 core, but SCP-2108 was not visible from outside the building. This phenomenon has not reoccurred and remains unexplained. Agent Moynihan, Dr. St. Jackson, on-site agent Shoshana Siegel became instances of -B over the following 4 hours. The additional converted biomass caused further erratic movement of SCP-2108. The resulting positive feedback loop would likely have converted much of the surrounding city, if not for routine testing at professional site in which SCP underwent its weekly partial core meltdown, resetting one of SCP-2108's major property correlates and instantly relocating it to a position inside Site-2108 core. Strategic application of this information amnestics ensured no lasting public exposure. All personnel equivalent to -B recovered within 8 weeks. See addendum 2108-E-46693 for records of extended observation. And here we have another addendum. Oh my god, please, no. Okay, that's something we already read. And that's something I will not read because I am... don't have the time for that. Credentials accepted. Like the other personnel involved in the incident E31181-A, Dr. Elliot appeared to recover completely from the effects of -B conversion. She sorry, my voice, like, my throat is slowly giving up on me. She completed quarantine and was clear for duty upon recovering fully from her injuries. However, recent events indicate that this assessment was premature. Routine surveillance carried out on Dr. Elliot after the incident revealed irregularities in her eating habits. Although initially consistent with her established habits, these disturbances grew steadily more pronounced after the incident. When she fasted for 16 straight days in late April, with neither any apparent preparation nor any ill effects, her case was flagged for closer and more prolonged examination. Over the following months, surveillance established that Dr. Elliot's food consumption patterns are closely correlated with her exposure to daylight or comparable full-spectrum lamps. She also displays marked symptoms of seasonal affective disorder despite no history of condition for which she self-medicated with fully spectrum lamps. Additionally, on 7 separate occasions in May and June, she was briefly hospitalized for accidental poisoning. All 7 incidents appear to have been caused by plant toxins whose sources were either entirely absent or available only in quantities for smaller than apparently ingested. The toxins include black walnut hull extract, caffeine in concentration greater than could have been ingested normally, and aconite sap in sublethal doses. The origin of the toxins is unknown. Those taken together, these phenomena suggest that Dr. Elliot has acquired anomalous properties beyond those characteristics of -B, which have persisted and strengthened since the incident. She has been professionally classified AE 46693. Proceedings to classify her as an SCP object were filed in June 2014, but have since been postponed indefinitely pending O5 review. Let me just see. Oh, this is canon though. I'll read it. Exit from interview log E46693-12, October 4th, 2014, 12:57 p.m. Interviewer Jeff Z. Taggart, did redacted. Also, let me try something real quick. Oh great, I can't even tell the sensitivity of my fuck. I hate how everything's going to shit technology-wise right now. Good afternoon, Dr. Elliot. Please close the door. Silence. Excuse me, but have we met? Please close the door. Pause. Elliot closes the door. Thank you. Do you have a seat? I'm Jeff Taggart from Reclassification. Reclass? I'm sorry, I don't... Doctor, you've been briefed on us. Well, yes, but no one here is anomalous. Erin, Tom, and I cleared quarantine a month ago. And you must know why we think that assessment was premature. Silence. You're not eating, Doctor. The usual post-quarantine surveillance shows us that. Those sun lamps were you buying too? Seasonal affective disorder doesn't come on that fast. I'm not sure how the poison incidents relate, though. I was hoping you could clear that up for us. What makes you think I'm authorized to waive the usual disciplinary actions for failure to report, provided you come clean now? Silence. Alright, smiles ruefully. I suppose I don't exactly have a choice at this stage. Thank you. I understand that this all began with events of incident. This will just lead me back, right? Yeah, just lead me back. In February of last year. Yes, I was consulting for MTF Theta 4 at the time. Three of us, Erin Moynihan, Tom St. Jacques, and I, had been detached to investigate a suspected new anomaly. Everything went fine until I tried to use my hand lens. Gecko check, and I'm just going to read real fast now. I'm sorry. Cat check, gem sweep check, Humes check, Agent Erin Moynihan came to the end of her list. And why did my mother have to like plan this for tomorrow? Couldn't she have like arranged it for Tuesday? Then I would be a lot more relaxed. Another had crossed for her teammates. I'm calling it stable. We're good to go in. Jesse Elliott grinned and bounced a little on the toes of the roots. Great. Tom, you ready? Third member of the little team nodded back at her. Apreroo. Together they stuck out into an abandoned and echoing warehouse. Elliot's eyes darted over the floor as they walked, eager for details. Weathered concrete was none of their specialty, nor was architecture, though they had noticed that the huge skylight running the length of the peaked ceiling, the rare February sunshine took on a subtle cast as it poured through some hint of color Elliot couldn't identify. She asked about it later. Now she homed straight in on the side. They tagged from the door, a very scruff of vegetation struggling up out of the cracked concrete. It wasn't much, holistically speaking. A few goldenrod stems, some ragged tufts of Kentucky bluegrass, and a dried-up stick that had probably been a silver maple sapling for 2 or 3 years before it kicked the pocket. Now it would have warranted a second glance if it hadn't been for the weird sheen on the leaves. She dropped to one knee besides the goldenrods, pulling on a pair of rubber gloves. Not only were they alive and vigorous in the winter chill, they were blue in ways Chelsea understanding of Solidago biochemistry couldn't account for. When she reached out to examine one of the leaves, it tilted against the sunlight and shimmered in oily seafoam green. Chelsea grinned and bent closer. Oh, this is weird. She pulled out her hand lens, plucking a leaf from the goldenrod and lifting it close to see. Through the lens, nothing but a blaze of lethal light. I'm told I was conscious most of the way to medical, but I don't actually remember much. Holy shit, what? Back up? The crackle of radio. Get new 30 in here now. We have a new anomaly and Elliot's down. She was on fire, the alien sun staring through her face, nothing left in her eyes but unamiable colors. I've got to just move. The world was a rock tumbler spinning, hurling against a sky full of stone. It left like ice olives and ice olive acid, a hook in her belly, pulling her inside out. It's moving. Jansen, get the Jansen. Fuck! Someone get the. A bullet on her chest and more falling on her blow after blow. Why did they? What did she do? Get us out of here. Seizing again. Think they're growing. Just make it stop. Just go. And when did you wake completely? They kept me in an induced coma for 2 weeks at medical, dealing with the kidney failure. I didn't wake up until they stopped the sedation. And that was when you became aware of your condition? Yeah, E31181 really did a number on me. When she finally woke, they assured that she would be fine. The light from the normal something had done some damage, but she would recover. Taking care of the sunburn while she was under her vision was mostly back. If the colors were still distinctly strange, that would clear up too. The seizures hadn't done her any serious harm, and the kidneys were well on the way back to full functions. Now the skin that might take a little longer to fade. She lay in the hospital bed, staring at her hands, too smooth skin, the color of pin cherry bark, modeled with. There we go. I think I fixed the OBS situation right now. For now, at least. It's annoying, but it's fixed. Not the freezing part. I still don't know how that's happening. Before she could even sit up, she was asking for her hand in a hand lens bag. Well, your first reaction was curiosity. My first reaction was, if I started laughing now, I'm never going to stop. Oh? I was either get curious or break down entirely. I see. We have the records for your actual quarantine period, of course. After you were released, how long did it take you to discover the anomaly? Just a few days. 8 weeks. 8 weeks of quarantine made bearable only by curiosity, a huge e-book library, and a long string of notebooks. 8 weeks of trying to explore our own altered biology and coming up short again and again against the limits of the quarantine itself. 8 weeks of frustration, never being able to compare notes with her doctors. 8 weeks of explaining to herself over and over again why the restrictions were necessary. 8 weeks of watching and waiting, half afraid she wouldn't recover at all, even if Tom and Erin were fine now. 8 weeks of terrible food, though at least she was never actually hungry, with her leafy additions providing most of her calorie needs. When the skin finally started turning pink again and shedding its little leaflets, 6.5 weeks in, she wanted to faint with relief. She'd gone into quarantine in the dead of winter. She came out in early spring after 8 weeks of bare walls and fluorescent light. Walking in shirt sleeves under the April sun made her absolutely giddy. There were a lot of loose ends to sort out at home, but she still took the first possible opportunity for a walk in the woods. She still had a lot of phone calls to make, but she could walk and talk at the same time. Her cell phone rang as she slipped through the woodlot understory, dodging bare branches. Hi, Blair. Yeah, hi. Good. I'm good. I'm home. Yeah, all back to normal. Give me a few extra days to make sure. How you been? She stepped carefully around the patch of cut-leaf toothwood. Oh, good. How's Pip doing? Has she given you any trouble? Blair usually took in Chelsea's cat, Pip, when the botanists traveled in summer. It didn't usually last for 2 months straight, though. As her friend answered, Chelsea let out a relieved sigh. Oh, good. Can I come and pick her up when you get home today? Yeah. Yeah, thanks. Thanks so much. They chatted for a few minutes longer. Chelsea, meanwhile, moving with the burning woods. The elms had gone to seed already, but she greeted the bloodroot and rue anemone by name. Something inside her began to settle quickly back into place. Yeah, I missed you too, she grinned into the phone, knowing Blair would hear it in her voice. Lunch Thursday? Sounds great. See you soon. They hung up. She passed by a maple sapling, running careful fingers over the soft new leaves, nosing out of the buds before dialing the next number. Hey George, have you been? May apples on the hillside? Sophie, hi. I owe you a Danish, up-lobed hepatica among the rocks. Cal, yeah, I'm back. A grove full of speckled trout, so she's paying attention to all the plants more. By the time she finished her call, she was brimming with a simple heat's joy of spring and freedom. There was more to do back at home, but she could spare a little longer, couldn't she? There, a patch of lesser celandine, bathed in sunlight. She stretched out on the soft, glossy leaves. Just half an hour, just to bask. She's still blinking sleepily. How long had it been? The sun was still warm on her face, and she lifted a hand to shade her drowsy eyes. With the other, she fell beside her for the bag. On her searching fingers, the leaves went crunch. She sat up, looking around, and stared at the ground around and under her. A meter or more out from where she lay was cold in hoarfrost. Hoarfrost. Okay. Interesting. A hair-thin coat of sparkling white crystals, impossibly failing to melt in the balmy air. The stuff even clung to the bare arms. It was only slightly cool to the touch, no different from grass itself, and it crunched between her fingers like fine. That's what the crunch that you heard before. Her eyes narrowed, not sand, and memory service, baking Christmas cookies, rolling little balls of dough and cinnamon and sugar, he murmured. Oh, she making sugar crystals. The crystal's shape was right from what she could see through her hand lens. It dissolved almost instantly in a drop of water from the ball in her purse, and the residue left her finger faintly sticky. No scent. Hesitantly, she put a single grain on the tip of her tongue. Definitely sugar. She looked down at the leaves all around up at the sky, her first real sunshine of the year, just after she stopped photosynthesizing, and suddenly there was sugar all over the place. Despite the balmy April air, she shivered. That sounds so conspicuous. I expect surveillance to have showed it if you were literally sugarcoating every chair you sat in. Well, it wasn't being deposited very fast. Even in direct sunlight, it took a good 20 minutes to build up to anything noticeable. And it's light dependent, of course, so I can stop most of it just by wearing long sleeves and turtlenecks. Still, I didn't want to bring even that into a lab, contaminate every sample in the fridge just by standing near it. Snorts. I might have had to turn myself in right then. I hadn't figured that. If I hadn't figured out how to control it. And how do you do that? Oh, pause. You just pause. I actually have no idea how to describe it. The process, technique, thing, gestures vaguely. I probably have to study meditation just for the vocabulary. What were we doing? All I can really say is that I learned to keep it in. I see. Soon after that, I realized that I didn't need to eat anymore. I dealt with that sort of thing during quarantine. You just don't get hungry as long as you get enough light. And the experience was basically the same. No supernumerary scales this time, though, absently. I still don't know what I'm using for chloroplast. Was your fasting deliberate then? Spreads her hands. Sometimes I just forget to eat. More often as summer came in, I took supplements in the beginning to make up for what amount to a diet of straight sugar. Why the past tense? Well, it's not just a diet of straight sugar. I see. Pause. Go on. Takes a breath. As it turns out, I can basically make any vascular plant metabolite that I've had in my system. Skin contact, inhalation, ingestion, all fair game. And it doesn't take much. I'm on either a balanced vegetarian diet or a healthy photosynthetic intake for a plant of about my mass. I'm not sure which. If I understand correctly, yeah, if it comes from a plant, I can probably crank it out. Just give me a sample first. Does that include aconite? That's how I learned I could do it in the first place. Oh hey, the aconitum's flowering. Sorry, what? The monk shoots Chelsea nodded towards the 5-foot-tall plotted plant that stretched a proud spike of full violet flowers. There was the peak of the greenhouse roof. The young man at their heels showed no sign of recognition. Wolfsbane, lovely plant, neat history and chemistry, not too hard to grow, toxic as all get out though. Her visitors, Niels, blinked. And you keep it out here? No containment? It's not really dangerous unless you eat it, and anyone who comes to here has enough sense not to do that. Kelsey smirked, ruffling one hand through the starburst sleeves. Well, that'll get an awful lot of the sap on your skin. I got a few big drops on my hands once, gave me heart palpitations for an hour, but that was it. Only heart palpitations, Niels sparkled at her. It's not as bad as it sounds. Sounds unpleasant enough. He eyed the plant with mistrust. It's like if you actually do eat it. Nausea first, plus the heart palpitations. Chelsea straightened up cheerfully, burning in the abdomen, then tingling numbness, weakness, and worse. Arrhythmias, and in paralysis and death, if you let it get that far. Sounds nasty. Well, it's just self-defense. It was still making your stomach roar a little. Odd. Toxicology didn't actually bother her in the abstract. Besides anything useful in the right context, this one's only in here because Nathan's group is using it in antidote. We think it'll be half the key to CCR syndrome. 1717. Oh yeah, the grass that like Which one's the real grass? Gotcha. Yeah. Because the one was like it's like half dead grass and half of green grass. Pseudoconitine was the active ingredient you remembered, not a big molecule, but it had an intriguingly multi-ringed structure. You could almost picture how the plant would synthesize it. Her stomach turned again and she swallowed. I hope that's not the pastor. Anyway, the colony I want you to see is over here. They stuck back out across the greenhouse, weaving between tables full of carefully labeled experimental flats. They almost round their destination when Chelsea's stomach spasmed outright. She doubled up halfway and reflexively clapped a hand to her mouth. Whoa, are you okay? Yeah, I should. Again, she swallowed back the acid, which only set off a fire complaint in her belly. Maybe not. I'm never letting Cal choose lunch again. Oh my god. Streamers just did the same thing again. It almost feels like nausea burning in the abdomen. She stopped dead just in time to feel her heart skip a beat. Oh god, she turned back the way they come, one arm wrapped around her middle. How is this even? Oh. Niels was on the phone to medical before her knees hit the floor. I'd give myself a sublethal dose, it turned out, but only just. Lucky for me, everyone assumed I'd actually handled researcher Nathan Fisk cognitum and somehow poisoned myself that way. If the only plant involved hadn't been so carefully monitored, we might have thought the same thing. It's a little insulting, really. I know full well how to handle these things safely, so you'd rather be insulted and contained. Wouldn't you? Pages full of dossier signs. I believe that would be all. Then Dr. Elliot begins putting papers back in the briefcase unless there's any information you'd like to volunteer. Any dimension to your anomaly that we haven't covered. Not that I'm aware of, yet I suppose I keep you posted. Pauses. May I? Well, I know it's not the usual practice, but perhaps as a final professional courtesy. Yes? May I see my proposed containment procedures? Pauses, surprise. You're not going into containment, Doctor. What? Your condition is classified 5/2108/E46693. Technically unclear to know about any of it. It is something of an unusual case. Since you don't appear to be in immediate danger to yourself or others, my orders are to take you to the position and let you continue your work. You aren't a danger to yourself or others, are you? Well, no, not with the metabolites under control, but I don't understand. You're a valid Foundation researcher, Dr. Elliot. That's not, and in this particular case, the Council has decided not to remove you from your position until it becomes necessary. I'll add this interview to the information on review, and you'll be notified of the conclusion in due time. In the meantime, please carry on. Elliot, I'm as confused as you, because I thought they would have locked you up. That's usually what they do. Do remember that this entire phenomenon is classified, though. You need to discuss it with anyone, and if you must refer to it at all, use its designation, E46693. Standard OPSEC, yes, but try to eat more, too. Some of your colleagues are getting concerned, and that's a security risk. Close this briefcase stands. I'll schedule another meeting with you once the Council has decided what to do with your case. Oh, of course. Thank you for your time, Doctor. Enjoy the rest of your day. March 31st, 2015, 1:04 p.m. Jazzy Yellow finishes reading and looks up, numb with dread, as a man called Taggart. Yes, I remember, she manages. Good. His calm smile doesn't so much as flicker. She's forgotten just how disconcerting the man can be. Is there anything you would like to add? Anything that has arisen in the meantime? She shakes her head. It hasn't much changed. I've been suppressing it mostly. Is that perfume you're wearing then? Damn his nose. She closes her eyes. Tantalum, Spigatum, and Rosa Damascena, wood and flower, volatiles respectively. Distantly she marvels at how level her voice still is. My colleagues have quite enjoyed my new essential oil hobby. No one's had any reason to think I'm not distilling them at home. Besides, spending photosynthate this way leaves me hungry enough to eat. The silence stretches out, pulling Chelsea nerves with it. She shifts in her seat and sets the interview log down too delicately on the edge of her desk. It's the wrong side of the desk again. This man must enjoy displacing her to her own visitor's chair. Finally, she can't hold her tongue any longer. Have they decided then? He gives a non-committal hum, twirling the delicate stem of her string of pearls lying around his forefingers. You could say that. Ultimately, though, it'd be your choice. Her flash of irritable skepticism surprises her, but she manages to restrain the snort. My choice? she asks, forcing her tone to say polite, "What are my options exactly?" The corner of his mouth ticks upwards. On the one hand, you may elect to go into containment. Your condition will be humane, of course, but you'll be an SCP object designated and treated accordingly. And that brick presses down on her lungs. She's seen fragments of the containment procedures they apply. Imprisoned for life, never again seeing the sun. She can't. Oh. Or, he forces it out on a whisper. Instead of replying immediately, he pushes a neatly bound dossier across the desk towards her. She opens it and begins to read. Have a look. Command is prepared to retain you in your current position on condition that you accept your assignment to this project. This is insane. This is brilliant. She had given her right arm to be part of this once upon a time. There's no choice at all. She looks up at him over the dossier and nods. I'll do it. His smile deepens and he extends a steady hand for her shake. We were hoping you'd say that. Welcome to MTF Alpha 9. Nice. Good for her. Good for her. I hope it doesn't fucking crash on me again. My OBS is going through it right now. I don't know what to do.